a little bit, but maybe I won't finish. But anyway, so look, so I measured the string so it's going to be long enough with a knot, and I didn't really measure it all that good, so it's bigger. I could have. It's better if it's a little bit bigger than if it's a little bit smaller. Okay, but anyway, so then you're gonna tie the knot, and these are really good strings. In fact, I got this in white, but now I got it in about 4 colors. And this is not the well. This is some good string, man. It's really good, and it's perfect for, especially making bags this size, or even a little bit bigger. And technically, you could get away putting it in a big one. Sometime in a real big one, you may want to have a thicker string. But if this is a string you got and you want to use it, you could even braid this string. I don't recommend it. I think it's good enough like this. And what you do, since you got this size string, then you make your bags this size. And then you try to make about 8 or 10 bags a day. These bags, they're not hard to make. They're a little, they have their moments, but for the most part, they're easy. Okay, so anyway, so now I tied the string for 2. So on me, I do an overlock stitch, but then for you do a stay stitch. So you're going to turn this under like that. And you're going to just turn it by the edge, just under like that. And then look, I'm using this for the guide. This side right here, where the feed dogs. Okay. I think that's about 1/8 of an inch, but that's a pretty easy guide. And when you try to sew all the time, when you can see that and you try to sew to that 1/8 inch feed, you get a very even stitch. Okay. You can do it to the 16th, but it's harder. It looks way more cooler, but it's just not that practical unless you're gonna take your time and try to be all, 1/8 of an inch is cool. And I used to sew 16, and I got the foot. They got a special foot that you can sew this edge at a 16th, the 1/8, 3/16, 1/4. I got all the feet, in fact. So how many bobbins do you have? See, look. This
shit, not as many as that.
Huh. And then, so then those presser feet, like this is one. And see how I got this edge right here, but this presser foot is around about 3/16. I could tell. It might be, it's probably about 3/16. It's not saying it, but see how much stuff you gotta have? Look, man. So this a cording foot, but okay, this is the foot I'm talking about. This one is a 1/8 foot. That means that this edge is like 1/8 of an inch. That's the same what we're doing right here. And then you put the fabric in, and then you put the edge just like that. And then you keep that edge, and then it sews like real perfect. And then this the 1/8. I got the 1/16 also. I wonder if it's mine. CSUBID. I can't find it. Anyway. So there's a 1/16, but so much for that. Okay, so anyway, so there's that. I'm almost done, but I need to put. I'm not gonna do the whole bag. I'm gonna do just a certain part, and then you have to get it to that part, which almost that's this part. Okay, and so now this is how you do it. Okay, because you don't have an overlock, so you do this stay stitch right here where you turn it under. Okay, you know this stitch, right? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure, man, because this is your stitch. I mean, it's all the stitch for the students, because until you have an overlock, like, maybe it's possible that you could just fold it under and do it, but I doubt it. I couldn't even do it. Sometimes you can fold stuff under and do it, but for me, it just makes it better to put the stay stitch. When you put the stay stitch, you know it's going to stay there and everything. Okay, so anyway, so from here, now it's going to get a little more interesting. Now I'm looking for all the threads, and I'm trying to clip all these threads clean because I don't want them getting in my way. Okay, and then once everything is clean, now you can see right here, even though I pulled well, I guess it's okay. Now you're going to take 2 strings and you're going to turn them like, what do you call it? Like one on one side and one on the other. And then you're going to put it in here. And then you're going to line up this edge where it opened, the end of the opening. You're going to put the string through there, and then you're going to line it up with the opening down here at the bottom. So you see how they're lined up? Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're going to line it up like that. And then actually you're going to fold this side down and get it lined up too. Okay. And then you're going to have one string knot coming out of one side and one string knot coming out of the other side. So now you're lining up the other side. Now this is similar like the triangle, but this is different. But this is like a triangle. So now you got this side exactly lined up, and then you got this side exactly lined up, and so now you're gonna do like that to, you understand what I'm saying, so that they're lined up and that they're flat. Now you're gonna start sewing a little bit before this seam. I say you're gonna start right here, and you're gonna go to the edge of the you're gonna sew on the edge. But look, one thing, you're not gonna lock it. Okay, so now look, when I'm opening this up, okay, so now I'm gonna make sure that it's exactly even, and I'm gonna open this part up so that the seam is exactly flat. You see how the seam is exactly flat? Yep. And also I got that funky thread that's in my way. That thread right there. I hate that. Okay, good, it got out the way. Okay, I'm double checking, making sure that this lines up, that they're exactly even. And also I'm making sure that this seam lines up with this seam. And then I'm also making sure that this seam is open flat. And remember I said fabric could be coming from any angle, but when it gets right near the needle, it has to be flat. Look at all the angle that this fabric is. This. Because this is all the angle that, and the angle is going like that. And little by little, we get it flat, okay? That's an important concept. Even when you're sewing a straight line, you're really not sewing straight. You're really sewing at a curve. And if you think you're sewing at a curve, in fact, this one lady I was watching, she said, I forget her name, Evelyn Woods or something from sewing. Anyway, so that's flat. Now look, I'm going to start around, just as example, I'm going to start around back here. Say, as an example, I'm going to start where that fold is. Okay? And then what I'm going to do, disengage the thread from the piece before. Okay? And then I'm going to, now look, I use my finger and I move everything just like that. My finger is holding everything in place like that. Okay? So then I lift and pull this back. Now I slide my finger and I slide that in there like that. Now see, because I kept it, and see, look, it's still lined up pretty good. This seam is lined up with that. That's right. And you have to keep double checking, man. Triple check all the way to when you do your first needle. Now, because I know that I got it pretty good, like I could look and see everything. Okay, let me double check that. I don't want to keep on pulling it out because I don't want to make it an endless pursuit where we never sew it because we keep on trying to get it more perfect. So now that I've got it, now I'm going to start. Now, once I get a little ways, I'm going to come to this side, and then I'm going to line this up. Now look, here's the triangle again. Now this is the serious triangle that you have to do. Okay, look, here's one, it's from here to this finger, and from this finger to this part. Okay, and then I'm doing the edge stitch. Basically, it's on top of this stitch for the most part, but it doesn't have to be. Like, as an example, if I went off on this stay stitch, you still want to stitch this close to the edge, and in a way you could look. As an example, you're kind of sewing at the edge of this. You want to use these little things as your guide. Okay, like you're sewing at about that edge, so you should, technically it should be kind of at that. Now it may be there or it may not be. Okay, but again, when you get to this second side, you want to do the same thing. You want to make sure that these seams are lined up like that. Okay, and then you want to make sure that this opening that they're the same or as close as you can get them. If you don't pay attention to that, it won't get done right. And the greater the man, the more he places on those moments, the 60 seconds. And then this is one where, to get an exquisite finish, okay, like if you just are like sewing and you're not like, it's like you have to be intuitive and you have to make it happen. Because if you just do some crappy stuff, it's gonna be crappy, and then it ain't gonna look good, and then you could be wanting your shit to be dope. So so you gotta put a little more. So see, so I triple check and make sure that shit's lined up. Then once I got it, and now look, see, and now you always gonna, when you get these extra threads, well, that thread, I don't want to cut this just yet because I want to explain something. Now, I don't double stitch right here because I already double stitched that. Okay, so now everything, but look, now I'm halfway, and now I'm gonna go to this side. So I'll just say it to you like this. I'm gonna clip this over here because I want these two threads, and I showed you this before, but I'm gonna show you again. This is what I do. Different people, they probably don't even do this. Some people, maybe they're gonna lock it in the beginning and lock it at the end. But this way that I'm doing it right now, this is my own, what I decided. What you do, you're gonna decide. You're gonna make something, and then you're gonna go, I like that way, as a production style. In other words, that's the most efficient way that I could make it. That's gonna suit my purpose. That's what this is. This is a judgment for me, how I do production style sewing. I do all my sewing like this. When I hem the pants leg, I do this. The same thing what I told you. I start a little bit behind the seam, and then I sew it around just like what I'm telling you right now. Okay, and then so here's the second triangle, but you don't really have to worry about that triangle that much because you already got it sewn here. So basically all you're doing is just, as example, trying to keep that there, but mostly just pulling this so that it's kind of tight like that, and then just following it. Okay, and now, did you notice how at first it was up here, and then I got to right there. Now I could fold this down. Like this as an example. See, look, watch this. Look, I could not get it over here. Okay, in order to get it over here, first I got to get it right there. Now I can move it over. That's what I mean about sew a little bit and move. Okay, now look. This is the most important part at the end. I put the needle in the fabric, and now I'm going to take the thread and I'm going to pull it up. So that I'm going to have both threads on the same side. Now this is just my own personal how I do it. I cannot say how the other people do it, because I don't know. But this is the way that I decided that I want to make my stuff. Okay, I just want to say that because you may not want to do this. You know, you may want to do something else. Me, I like this, and so I want to, okay. So now you see I got both threads pulled up, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to sew, and then I'm going to sew over those threads to, as example, to maybe about almost, I'll just say, let's just say I start at this fold where it's folded under. And now I'm going to sew all the way, and then say like I'll sew to where this fold, and then I'll lock it. But I'm going to sew over these two threads while I pull the one from underneath, okay? And I'm only just explaining it a lot because I want you to really get the understanding of the concept, and I don't want to go so fast that you miss it, kind of like disengagement of the thread. But anyway, so I sewed to there. So basically, that's almost the whole bag. So now the other thing that you would do, okay, and so you're going to put this piece, and see, now I'm just working on one bag because I don't want to waste the time of doing another bag, because I want to show you this, the final part of this part, and then I'll show you one other part. Okay, so then the next step, almost the final step, okay, and technically this is about the final step, sort of. No, we have to, well, technically we would do an overlock, but anyway, but look, so now what we're going to do, as an example, we're going to pull the strings, and then we're gonna sew, just as an example, at around a 1/2 inch, really a 1/4 inch. No, okay, we could go a 1/2 inch, because this is, so we're gonna lock it at the beginning, a 1/2 inch, and then now look, when we're sewing, and then we're gonna come to right here. Now look, you want to pull it maybe just a little bit, so that this outside part is gonna be on the outside, like, because you don't want the inside part to be on the outside. When you look at it, you could see that. When you look at it from the outside, as example, you don't want to see the inside. Does that make sense? And again, because if you don't think of that and you just start sewing, it could mess up on you. But when you focus, and even me, man. So, but anyway, but mostly just keep them even. But anyway, so you sew at a 1/2 inch. Now, technically, it's a little bit difficult to just do this and get it at a 1/2 inch, to me. Okay, so I would do one side. I mean, it is possible, but because technically I was saying one time that you can sew and make something and never, like, in other words, you sewing around, and so technically you can sew that, but to try to do that, it's going to be it'll take a long time to do it, and it's not worth it, because, you know, what are you proving that you could, you know, I mean, sometimes just put a little piece of fabric in there real quick so you can hurry up, and then you're going to do the same thing on the other side, right? And then, and at the 1/2 inch, lock it. See this little orange thread? That's what that is. That's a piece of the fabric thread. And so then basically, you could say that that's kind of it, because the other stitch I will have you do, since you don't have an overlock, okay? If you had an overlock, I would cut this and then have you sew it. Or, well, let's just say we'll cut it anyway. Okay, like, we're just gonna, now be careful, don't cut it too close. Okay, but you want to cut it open like that on both sides. And since you don't have an overlock, I know another way, and it's not perfect. Now, look, you see how I'm cutting? Look, you see how much I left right there? You see, I left at least over a 1/4 inch. Okay, you see there's a 1/4 inch, or even maybe a little bit more. I mean, you can cut it closer, but when you beginning, so I got to come and cut this back side out, okay? But I'm keeping the same distance, because if you don't want to cut it too close to mess up the stitching. But sometimes you do have to trim things. This side is cut okay. No, it's not. See, look, that part, so I still need to pull that out, get that out. So I say if you don't have an overlock, then I would say you could do this stitch. You could fold this under and do this. And technically you could leave it like that. You don't even have to do this stitch. But then you're just going to have a raw edge. But at least if you do this stitch, it's going to look a little more professional, maybe. And I'm putting this because since I'm only working on one, but I don't want to have to each time cut the thread and then do the same thing here on the other side. And then actually after this, there's only one more. I'm going to show you the zipper too. I didn't mean to go so long on this, but at least
we can do the zipper for another day.
Huh? No, man, I want to do the zipper right now.
I'm recording for almost 2 hours.
Okay, well the zipper will be fast, man. I'll do it about 5 minutes. Okay, let me do this one more. Okay, look. So this would be sort of like the final. Now look. So on the final step, you're gonna finger press this. You're gonna pull these and make sure that they're flat, and then finger press the edges. Have we done this before? And then you're gonna
Put the knife.
Make this line, and it's gonna be. You're gonna make this line that you folded to line up with this line. Have we done this before?
Yep.
Okay. And I like to fold it to the back. Okay, but anyway, so let's just make it at 3/4. Technically, I would make it at 5/8. 5/8 would be in between a half and 3/4. Okay, so then lock it at the beginning, and then now look on this one. Then I come directly to this side, and then I do the same thing. And then I feel it, like I use my fingers and I feel it. And then once I feel it's even, then I fold that to the back. And then 3/4, keeping it even from before. And then now look, now this is the whole bag, but I want to show you some of the stuff on the zipper. And I'll go real fast. But I got to overlock that part first. So that way I don't have to do that stay stitch. I could do the stay stitch. But anyway, but look, so this is the whole complete bag. Now later I'll get you some step by step. But anyway, so this is the whole. So once you, so that then you turn this way, and then you know you open, you push the seam where you sewed open all the way, and then there you go. Okay, and so here's the how you start. And then all the rest of it is all the stuff on the video. And then I'll make one more. But let me start on the zipper real quick. And so for this zipper,